there are three major arguments that has been brought up by the opposition side of the House. But before that, we want to give reasoning and clarification on why the opening government side of the House should not win this debate. Because first of all, they are very jumpy towards on how these K-pop models, these K-pop industry are role models to these fans. And second of all, on how they do not say the exclusivity of these K-pop industry on why we should oppose them in the first place, right, ladies and gentlemen? That which will I will say in my arguments. Now, going on to my rebuttals, there are three major rebuttals that is brought up by the opposition side of the House. First of all, on how they have stated that K-pop create diversity, K-pop created options. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that this will not be true because what option are they trying to say? The option that they're trying to say is that it's still gonna be the same in the end of the day. They have to be thin, they have to be girly, they have to be the normal beauty standards that we do not want in the end of the day, right, ladies and gentlemen? And second of all, even if they create option, it will be not beneficial to the feminist movement. What we mean by this is that we are living in the era where K-pop industry is very blooming, is very booming right now, ladies and gentlemen, right? And what will happen if we do not apply this motion, if we do not oppose the K-pop industry or give a stop to these standards, is that in the next era, another beauty standard. So a different era have one beauty standards, right, ladies and gentlemen? So one era have one beauty standards. Instead, what we want as the feminist movement is that we want every single era to have every single diversity and every single beauty standards. For example, right now it's only the K-pop industry and the beauty standards of being thin and being light skin and dark hair and etc. But in the last era, it is Western. They are romanticizing Western beauty standards, and that is not what we want. We want every single era to consider every single standards of beauty, whether or not they are light skin, dark skin, whether or not they are thin or overweight or etc. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the goal of feminism in the end of the day. Second of all, on how they have stated on supply and demand and so on and so forth. First of all, we see that this K-pop industry is a business, right, ladies and gentlemen? For example, just like on how you are an architect building a house. Change could happen, the demand could happen, and in our side of the House, demand could actually change is by us starting this by opposing K-pop industry, because it creates change, it creates a domino effect in the end of the day to stop beauty standards as a whole. But in their side of the House, the demand will be the same in the end of the day. One beauty standards for one era from one ethnicity, for example. That is not what we want, right, ladies and gentlemen? And that is what we characterize change, is that by the characterization of change. Okay, so change will create hatred at first, right, ladies and gentlemen? But later on in the future, it will be accepted slowly. And that brings me to my third rebuttal, where they have stated that this feminism will be hatred and seen as toxic. First of all, no, it will not happen, because they will see that these feminist movement is trying to protect their idol, to create a safe space, and therefore they will not hate. But even if hatred does happen, we believe that it's not significantly only in our side of the House. Meanwhile, in their side of the House, hatred still happen and still go on in both sides of the House. So hatred is not that significant. Meanwhile, in the side of the House, it is beneficial because we create a safe space. Now, going on to my arguments, I'll be bringing three arguments about how the toxicity of K-pop industry. Second of all, on how platform right now in status quo is not enough, and third of all, on our worst case scenario and their best case scenario, and how are we better. Now, our first argument about how toxicity in K-pop industry. Now, the opening government have already stated on how this create beauty standards, but very jumpy, right, ladies and gentlemen? Now, what we want by opposing by this K-pop industry is creating a safe space for these female K-pop lead or group to speak up about how they are oppressed. Because let us characterize what is happening in the beauty standards in the K-pop industry right now. They are only allowed to eat one apple a day, ladies and gentlemen. That is not what we want. We want them to be able to freely choose what they want to eat. Meanwhile, in their side of the House, these industry are controlling these female leads to be thin, to be the standards of beauty, and that is not what we want, and that is not the goal of feminism in the end of the day. That is why we want to create a safe space for them to speak up about the industry, so the industry could change their ways and etc. Right, ladies and gentlemen? So the goal of feminism in the end of the day is reached, because the goal of feminism is to help these oppressed women to get help, to speak up, and that is what we want in the end of the day. Let's take an example. A-Pink. from the band A-Pink, Neon in Psy's new music video, New Face, is hated because she brought up a phone case that stated girls can do anything. And in South Korea, she's oppressed. She is hated because she thinks she looks like she wants to do a feminist movement. This is the kind of things that we want to protect these female leaders and female groups in the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That is the goal of feminism in our side of the house. Now, why by feminism platforms, other platforms is not enough? Why is it exclusivity only to K-pop industry? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we see that there are many feminist movements, for example, Me Too, the hashtag Me Too, and etc. But we believe that it is not enough because right now, again, the thing that's happening or the thing that's booming is K-pop. You see right and left, you see K-pop. Therefore, we want to oppose from the standards that is happening currently in status quo, that is currently happening in this era. Therefore, we see that this is the exclusivity of K-pop industry because every time, wherever you go, there must be K-pop music playing. And therefore, this is what we want to stop, right, ladies and gentlemen? And third of all, my third argument is how our worst case is better than their best case. Our worst case scenario is that there's two worst cases. First of all, feminism will be hated by people. Second of all, on how K-pop industry will be less profitable. First of all, on the feminism will be hated is no, it will not happen. Why? Because in the end of the day, they will see us as the feminist movement protecting their idol. Therefore, they're trying to do betterment for my idol. Therefore, I will not hate this movement. And even if this hatred happens, we believe that both sides of the house have equally amount of hatred that happens to this feminism in the first place, right, ladies and gentlemen? So therefore, it is more beneficial in our side of the house because at least we create a safe space. Meanwhile, in their side of the house, do not. Second of all, the K-pop industry will have less profitable. We believe no, it will not happen because they will want to try to adapt to change for like how their music videos goes to different ways than before, right, ladies and gentlemen? That is why we believe that it is adaptable to change. And even if they are less profit, we believe that it's okay because they have already many profits from this before era, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, we believe that it is better for us to oppose this, aggressively oppose this K-pop industry in the end of the day. Thank you.
Notice on how the opening government side of the house is very jumpy, as what my second speaker already stated, on how they're explaining on the exclusivity of these beauty standards that is created by this K-pop industry at the very first place, ladies and gentlemen. But they are only mentioning the harm that that is actually impactful towards the society, but they are not actually mentioning on what is the impact actually to women inside that K-pop industry that we actually already brought up to you from my second speaker, right, ladies and gentlemen. Two clashes in this debate and few individual rebuttal that I will explain later. Okay, first clash is how the government side of the house stated about how the beauty standards is created because of this K-pop industries, right? But the opposition side of the house stated of how these various beauty standards already exist, so it is okay. So it is not the fault of the K-pop industry for creating another beauty standards inside of the various beauty standards, ladies and gentlemen. But as we know that K-pop industry, it is something that is overshadowing every beauty standards nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. These various beauty standards won't impact anything because this beauty standards of K-pop industry is overshadowing other beauty standards. As what my second speaker already stated before, as how many people who actually buy Kylie lip kit rather than BTS meal, right, ladies and gentlemen. And here we can see on how much this K-pop industry actually is overshadowing our era nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. And even if they stated that we need to create another form of option of beauty standards, K-pop industry still hold the charts, proven of how many beauty standards there is already already exist by now. For example, in beauty pageants and in last year's in Miss Universe, there is already new beauty standards on who the one who win the Miss Universe, right? But nobody actually look up to that. Why? Because K-pop industry is overshadowing these beauty standards, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that these various beauty standards already exist, but then back again that this K-pop industry is overshadowing this beauty standards, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why we as a feminism should take this action to actually oppress something that is overshadowed, right, ladies and gentlemen? Because something that is over-dominating is tend to be something that is good. Why? Because it is and it leads to why feminism should be the one who oppress this beauty standards, ladies and gentlemen, because feminism is the only platform that realize and can relate to what is actually on the trend right now. Feminism is the one who actually have the real platforms on how and can speak up about this beauty standard that is being created, and not just that, this beauty standards that is creating is actually interfering with people's mental health, right, ladies and gentlemen, which I will explain more in my second clash. That's why the opposition side of the house about how these various beauty standards will actually solve the case will not work, because of how this we need to realize, and we cannot deny the fact that this overshadowing is happening in this era, ladies and gentlemen. Second clash on how we actually it is okay to blaming the K-pop industry for these beauty standards, and they stated that they can't blame these beauty standards because of two layers. First of all, they only fulfill the supply and demand, and second of all, it's the Western's beauty standard fault because they can't keep up with the rating, so thus the K-pop industry is overshadowing them. First of all, yes, we believe that it is okay in businesses to fulfill the supply and demand by any kind of company, right? But notice on how this K-pop industry only cares about the profit that they get and don't care about the people's mental health, ladies and gentlemen. It is how can I say that this people's mental health are very crucial now? We can see on how people are actually normalizing insecurity nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. On how people think that it is not a mental health problem, ladies and gentlemen. Why we know it is something that we cannot normalize, ladies and gentlemen. It is something that we need to stop. And this insecurity is created from the very first place is because of this K-pop industry, ladies and gentlemen. And why we can exclusively blame this K-pop industry which they say that we can't blame this K-pop industry is because K-pop industry is the one who created this, right? By what? By having an idol that only have not having an idol that have a plus size body, by having an idol that only that have a light skin, that have a thin body, and this is actually something that is very crucial nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. For example, there are people who sell this tape to make a double lid eye, ladies and gentlemen. It stated on how it prove you on how this beauty standards is actually overshadowing nowadays, and why it is okay to blame K-pop industry for this, because they are the one who actually created from the very first place. They are the one who recruit, right, this idol from the very first place, and they recruit it based on certain standards. That's why they are the one who creates the beauty standards, and that's why it is okay for us to blame for the K-pop industry, and it is okay to cut off that kind of demand, because it is the demand that is actually crushing people's mental health, ladies and gentlemen. And we are the one who realize that, and we believe that we should take an action. Second of all, they stated that Western fault because they can't keep up with the rating. We believe that Westerns is actually already keeping up with the rating. For example, Justin Bieber is still popular from 2002 until right now, but they can't beat BTS. Why? Because until now the K-pop industry is overshadowing, ladies and gentlemen. They already keep up with the rating. It's just the K-pop industry is the over-dominating everything. That's why at the end of the day, the K-pop industry is still the one who holds the chart and will always hold the chart of this beauty standard at the very first place, ladies and gentlemen. Next, I will tell you about, I will deliver about the individual rebuttal, right? First of all, they stated about how this K-pop industry actually give positive impact because they create an innovation. Thus, there is a lot of innovative people, etc., etc. But we believe that innovative, yes, we believe that innovation will happen in their side of the house. But it doesn't mean that the innovation wouldn't happen in our side of the house, because there is also other company that create innovation, right? And it is not balanced with the trade-off of the people's mental health, health right, ladies and gentlemen. So we believe that the innovation, even though it's not as much as in their side of the house, we believe that it is okay to happen in our side of the house. At least these people's mental health are being protected. Not just that, they also stated about how the K-pop industry gets Grammy Awards, and it's about talent and hard work. But not just that, they abandoned the fact that this K-pop industry not protecting their actors, for example. Of how many of their actors are being bullied and then end up suiciding, ladies and gentlemen. They are suicide because there is no one that helped them, because their agency won't help them, ladies and gentlemen. But we, as the feminist movement, will be there to give them another platform to actually speak up, ladies and gentlemen. So we believe that this K-pop industry doesn't care about this women in their industry, right, ladies and gentlemen. So we believe by we giving an action, we actually giving them a platform to speak up about how these beauty standards are actually crushing them inside. We're not only protecting the woman in our society, we're also protecting this woman that wants to speak up in that K-pop industry. Thank you.